up, WMS? It's Kaylee.
And I'm Lucy. You're watching Bulldog News.
Today is Wednesday, January 20th.
Here is part 2 of Kaylee's interview with Miss Roloff.
And this is probably a hard one, but what were some of your favorite books?
So all of the books that you guys read now, like all the dystopian books, were huge when I was in middle school. They had just come out. And they were ones my mom told me to read, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna read that. And then I always did and loved it. So Marked was a vampire series that was really good. Hunger Games was huge. Divergent, Harry Potter, because those last few were still dragging out, so the 6th and 7th one. I remember going to midnight premieres at Barnes & Noble with my dad to go get them, and it was the best time ever, because then you just go crazy at midnight just reading it. It was the best. And then Twilight was also, I was a huge Twilight fan. But now I realize how creepy Edward and Bella's relationship was, because he'd watch her sleep at night. So if anything that happens in Twilight ever happens to you in a relationship, you run for the hills, because that's creepy. Just so you know.
Okay. What were some of the most commonly used slang words or abbreviations?
As you could probably tell, I wasn't the hippest of all humans, and so I don't remember a ton of slang. I think people were saying epic. Epic was big. And then that's the beginning of when things started to shorten. So every word just got smaller and smaller, and I think that was it. Yeah, I don't know. That was a really hard question for me.
And now our words are like 4 letters long.
It seriously got smaller and smaller, but like Starbs instead of Starbucks. Lib instead of library.
What were some of your favorite music singers or bands?
So I was really a big country person, so I listened to Carrie Underwood, Brad Paisley, Pete Urban, Miranda Lambert. Those were my favorites. But I also loved movie soundtracks. And so like Freaky Friday had such a good one. Cinderella Story had a good one. And then Twilight had the best ones. Like those were the best kind of indie dystopian ones. And my cousins who live on the east side of Washington were like, oh, is that your Westies music? Like Western Washington. So I'd make a playlist with all my Hunger Games and Twilight CDs, and it would be the Westies playlist. I love that playlist. That was so good.
What were some of the fashion trends?
Skinny jeans were coming into style. There were like the jeggings, so they had no pockets, which was the most annoying thing ever. And then I remember all the jeans having holes in them, but then our school, we weren't allowed to wear pulley jeans. And so I remember my mom and we would go to every single store at the mall trying to find a pair of jeans that didn't have holes in them. It was like this huge adventure I remember happening in middle school.
So it's kind of similar to now.
Yes, I know. It hasn't changed in 10 years.
What is the biggest difference from then to now?
I think the biggest difference is that we talk about social issues now. So when I was in middle school, we ignored things. We just ignore it. So Black Lives Matter wasn't a thing. LGBTQ, these were things that were going on. But when I was in school, I don't remember ever talking about it or thinking about it because of my identity and who I was. And so that was, I think, the biggest change. Maybe it's because I'm an adult now and I noticed that. But again, it hasn't been that long since I was in middle school.
Who was one of the most talked about celebrities?
I remember my friend and I, because it was the Twilight phase, so we loved Taylor Lautner. We just thought he was the most beautiful human on the face of the earth. Obviously, things have changed now. There are other people that are also beautiful. Keira Knightley, I loved her because I loved Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean was one of my favorite movies. and I loved her and Orlando Bloom. So as like the new ones were coming out and Johnny Depp was the only one from the original cast, I was always so sad. I was like, it's not worth it. Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley aren't on it. I'm not watching it. I mean, I did, but not worth it.
Thanks for doing that teacher interview, Miss Roloff. It was really fun to watch. Next up, we have a quick video tutorial by Malin.
When you are back in the editor, select the item that you want to link. Once you have done this, you're going to select this chain icon in the top right hand corner. Then select Slides in this presentation and scroll down to the slide that you want. Then click Apply. And there you go, the object should be linked. When you're doing words, you want to make sure that your cursor does not show up like this. Then go up to the chain icon, select it, select Slides in this presentation, and scroll down to the slide you want, and click Apply. When you go into present mode, your link should work. And there you go. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. See you next time.
Good job, Malin. Look for more of these tutorials in upcoming episodes.
Now, here's our orchestra performing a short piece by Ignatius Nacho, followed by an announcement by Miss Satori.
Hi, my name is Miss Sartori and I direct the orchestras at Washington Middle School. We're going to share a bit about a Black composer whose music we've been learning. Here's a picture of him.
This is Ignatius Sancho. He was a composer who lived from 1729 to 1780.
He was born on a slave ship off the coast of Guinea, West Africa, and was taken to a Spanish colony of New Granada in South Africa.
When he was 2 years old, he was brought to England.
He grew up enslaved to 3 sisters in the town of Greenwich.
Later, the Duke of Montague bought him.
Despite being Sancho's enslaver, the Duke taught Sancho how to read and write.
When he was older, the Montagues taught him literature, writing, and music.
After the Duchess of Montague died, Sancho was freed.
He married and opened a small grocery store.
He was probably best known as a public intellectual, publishing many letters about abolishing slavery.
Abolish means to end a system or practice. Slavery was abolished in England and throughout the British Empire in 1833.
Sancho was also responsible for a number of important firsts.
He was the first Black composer in history to ever have his music published.
He wrote songs, minuets, and country dances, and also published a book on music theory.
He was also the first Black person to vote in a British election.
Now you'll see the 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade orchestras from Washington Middle School play a short piece by Sancho called Les Contes des Fées, which is French for fairy tales. Hi, Miss Sartori here. Each year, 7th and 8th grade music students have the opportunity to audition for Junior All-State Band, Orchestra, and Choir, and if they're accepted, they get to play in ensembles made up of some of the best musicians from all over Washington State. At the beginning of this school year, auditions were held, and even though there won't be an in-person All-State event this year due to COVID, we want to congratulate Lucas Divig, Chris Cheng, and Chloe Song for getting accepted into this year's Junior All-State Band and Orchestra. Thank you for your hard work and for representing WMS well. Auditions are held every year for 7th through 12th grade musicians. So, band, choir, and orchestra students, you can start preparing for next year's auditions, which will be held this coming fall.
Wow, that was fantastic. A big congratulations to Lucas, Chris, and Chloe. Now, here are this week's birthdays.
And remember, Bulldogs, be kind,
be safe,
wear a mask, and make good choices.